You can start it.
Good afternoon to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending our earnings call for the financial year 2019-20. We have already shared our earnings press release and result presentation. Hope you got an opportunity to go through that. I will start with Q4 FY20 financial performance followed by full year FY20 financial performance. In Q4 FY20, Relaxo booked an operating revenue of 540 crores, down by 15% year on year. This impact was mainly due to nationwide lockdown. Due to adoption of Ind AS 116, our rental expenses have reduced and simultaneously depreciation and interest expenses have increased. The total impact of this new accounting standard on EBITDA is an increase of 45 crores. Our EBITDA margin for the quarter was 17.8%, vis-a-vis EBITDA margin of 15% in Q4 FY19. EBITDA margin of 17.8% for Q4 stand at 15.7 without Ind AS 116. As informed earlier, our company has chosen to exercise the option of lower tax rate of 25.168% as introduced by the Taxation Law Ordinance 2019. Our profit after tax was rupees 52 crore for the quarter, down by 4.8% year on year with a PAT margin of 9.58%. For FY 2020, we registered a revenue of rupees 2,410 crore, up by 5% with gross margin of 56.88% and EBITDA margin of 17%. Favorable raw material prices and premiumization supported this growth. Our PAT of 226 crore in FY20 with a PAT margin of 9.4% grew by 29% year on year, mainly due to cost control initiative in manufacturing and lower tax rates. During FY20, we generated a cash of rupees 319 crore from operations and spent 210 crore in capex and repayment of current and non-current borrowings. At the end of March 2020, we have 390 exclusive brand outlets which contribute 8% to our FY20 revenues. We have added net 47 new stores in this period. Export have expanded to new territories and is contributing 4% of revenues. During the ongoing crisis, we are undertaking all necessary measures to ensure safety and well-being of our employees and partners. The company is strictly adhering to government guidelines and has started operation in plants and offices. Prior to starting of operation, we have developed detailed SOP for safety of its employees. Proper equipment and sanitization material, masks has been provided at all locations. We continue to support and provide assistance to our dealers, distributors and customers. Due to nationwide lockdown, overall demand for overall footwear is subdued, but demand for open slipper segment has improved during the period. However, due to restrictions in manufacturing operations, fulfillment of such demand will be a challenge in short term. The company has paid all long-term debts in FY20 and its liquidity position is comfortable. Moreover, with start of business activity, the liquidity position of company will continue to be comfortable. Relaxo has always been one of the most trusted brand and we believe that the company is well placed to emerge stronger in post-COVID-19 world. We will continue to adopt strategic initiative to strengthen our brand positioning, improve our product innovation and expansion into newer geographies. We can now open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Tejas Shah from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity.
So first question is, if you can give us some color on channel-wise and regional-wise business scenario post-lockdown and even in the recent weeks when lockdown has been relaxed.
Currently, a lot of areas are still under lockdown. South and west markets are still, in a lockdown position. It is only the north, east, and the central where things are opening up, and there our business is picking up. So it will continue till the lockdown or this position become normal in the western and south market. The business will remain challenged.
Okay. So, sir, roughly 70 to 80% of markets where you operate, are they open for business now?
50%. 50% you can call it.
50%.
50 to 60.
Okay. And sir, now, unlike other models, your model is very MBO driven, and I believe a lot of inventory would have been there because the lockdown was sudden. So, ballpark figure, how many months of inventory you believe there will be in the channel already before you start seeing primary pickup happening at your level as well?
Our CFO will reply.
Inventory in the channel will be in the range of 60 days. That's what we assume, depend upon the dealer capacity and all this one. So it will be around 2 months inventory.
Okay. So, sir, is it a fair assumption that it will take some time for us to see pickup in primary level because this was quite sudden shock in terms of demand planning and all?
Yeah, sure. Maybe by next quarter things will become more clear.
Okay. And sir, you also mentioned in your opening remarks, Mr. Batra did, that we'll be looking at new geographies for expansion this year. So any new territories we are planning, or within the same areas we are planning for deeper penetration?
This is always an ongoing process. Wherever we find there are vacant markets, and we keep on developing our distribution, finding distributor and expanding. That we have been doing in the past also, we'll continue that effort.
Sure. And so there was a very strong thrust when we started this year on online channel. You called out in your half-year call as well. So what is the exit contribution from this channel as on March for the full year?
Around 8%. 7 to 8%. 7 to 8%.
7 to 8%. Okay. And so, lastly, one bookkeeping question. Looking at the demand scenario, are we planning to do any major capex this year now?
Yeah, it's not major, but it is ongoing. Or wherever, whatever is the need, there are molds are there, small machineries are there. So in the past also around 100 crore, this year also that kind of capital expenditure will be there.
Okay. That's all from my side, sir. I'll fall back and give for more questions. Thanks.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Kaustubh Pawaskar from Sharekhan Limited. Please go ahead. Kaustubh, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please. We would request the participant to please unmute yourself if muted from the handset.
Yeah, sorry. So my question is on the current situation. Since the lockdown is gradually improving and people would be getting out of home and still, the permissions are not at the optimum level. So which of the categories of Relaxo would see, higher demand in the current situation? Also, schools have not reopened. So, which of the categories would see demand in the current situation?
Currently, what we find that the value of slippers, open footwear, that is in demand more than the sports shoes or sporty sandals. So that is what we find. Slippers, open slippers, whether PU, EVA or our Hawaii, Bahamas, these kind of articles are more in demand.
Right, sir. And what would be the approximate contribution from this to your overall revenues?
Two-third.
Two-third.
Two-thirds of your revenues. Okay, sir. And sir, it is expected that the schools would reopen somewhere in August, which at current juncture look to be unlikely. But the government is planning to, slowly start with the education, institutions. So can we expect the school demand or demand for the school shoes to pick up post August, maybe in September? And what is the contribution from that particular category for you?
It is very insignificant. School shoes is a very insignificant contribution in our scheme of things.
Okay. And so one question on the raw material prices this quarter. Despite the fact, the revenues were down at gross margins were a level we have seen significant improvement. So how is the raw material cost position now, and do you expect this gross margin expansion to sustain in the coming quarters?
Yeah, raw material prices have been by and large stable with the last year, and this quarter also they will be benign. So we will be able to sustain these margins.
Okay. And so one last point, if I can chip in. Sir, in your presentation, you mentioned that the exports, Indian contribution to overall global export is just 2% compared with China, which is at around 40%. So do you post COVID, do you expect this contribution to go up? Are you seeing some kind of orders coming from the markets which have international markets which have slowly started opening up?
We are already doing a lot of effort in our export promotion. But for the time being, even overseas market, this COVID effect is throughout the world. It's not that only in India this effect is there. So there also things are not opening up.
Right. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhargav Buddhadev from Kotak Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Just wanted to check that when can we see a ramp up in terms of our production reaching 100% utilization, assuming that the demand comes back. You mentioned that there are some challenges.
Volume has gone down.
Can you please repeat the question? We are not able to hear you properly.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
No, better.
Yeah, I'm saying that, sir, assuming that the demand comes back by, say, September or maybe October, do you think that we can sort of ramp up production to, say, around 80-90% by September, October? Will we be able to do that?
Once we get the demand coming, we will be able to then, utilize our capacities, ramp up. Because by that time, I think migrating labor will also start returning after 3 more months.
Okay. And in terms of your vendors, from where you sort of procure raw materials, semi-raw materials or semi-finished goods, how is the situation over there in terms of your vendors, sir?
That is not an issue.
Achha. So you don't think there will be any production challenges by September?
No, from raw material point of view, no challenge.
Okay. Secondly, sir, what could be 2 or 3 cost saving levers which you can sort of use to sort of contain cost in FY21?
Currently, we have to. Currently, maybe we can't say what actually we are going to do depending upon the market condition. The gift schemes or the sales incentive schemes that we'll relook into, brand building exercises we can curb some expenditure in those things also. Marketing expenses, what I mean to say.
Okay. And lastly, sir, there were a few new competitors who had emerged and who gave us strong competition on the Sparx brand, especially the footwear segment, the sports shoe segment. So post-lockdown, do you see these new entrants continuing with their competitive intensity, or you think they will sort of slow down?
The competition is always there, and it is a healthy part. The competition should be always with the trade. And whether competition or no competition, our company has been growing at a fairly good rate. So we will focus on it and hope that we will be doing the way we have been doing in the past.
And so do you think FY22 can be better than FY20?
Market conditions are very unpredictable at the moment. So we have to currently see quarter by quarter how the thing unfolds. Depending on how the market unfolds, really how the shopping areas close, how much public starts moving out.
But FY22 should be better than FY20.
You want 22
FY22, I think it should be better than 20.
By that then things will be very clear and stabilized. Things will be good, very good.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhruv Bhimrajka from Bharti XLI. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Sir, my question relates to, I just wanted some detail on your raw material procurement and sourcing. So what are the main raw materials that you use? Do you source it locally or through exports? Can you just give a detailed description about that would be great?
There are, in the non-leather footwear industry, there are a lot of materials. Main are the polymers, like natural rubber, ethyl vinyl acetate, PVC, PU. So all certain material like EVA, PU, they are imported. But that is not an issue.
Okay.
Natural rubber is available locally also.
Okay. So, sir, if I have to ask, this EVA and PU which is imported, what are the major countries that you import them from?
There are many, 7, 8.
Okay, 7, 8 countries. Okay, that would be great. And what would be the largest component of raw material? Say rubber is what part of your raw material component, and the others, if you could just give a range, that would also.
Largest is as on date EVA.
Okay, that is how much, sir?
Followed by PU and then natural rubber.
PU and then rubber. So what would the percentage be, sir?
Article by different consumption, different article. Very difficult to tell.
Okay. But these three would be the major raw materials which matter to you.
As far as polymers are concerned.
Okay.
And their polymer is the main cost in non-leather footwear.
Polymer is the main cost. Okay. And sir, last question: what would be your state like North India is what part of revenue? Can you give a breakup of North, South, East, West India? That would be great.
No. Currently,
hello.
Different articles are having different things. Open slippers are having different scenario. Clothes like Sparx is having different scenario.
Right.
And now, exact region-wise, we will not like to diverge from competitive reason.
Not a problem. Thank you, sir. I'll come back in the question. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Mehta from ASK Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, team. Thanks for the opportunity. So my question is related to open footwear. This is a category where we are seeing right now maximum growth. So how is the competitive intensity in this category? Because where I'm coming from is that this category predominantly the unorganized pie was doing a sizable business. So have they are facing constraint in terms of manufacturing, which is helping us. So I just wanted to know more about it.
Competition is part and parcel of every business. And we have been coexisting for the last so many years. So there is nothing to fear from it. Let it be there. And some of the local players are also getting organized. So that is not an issue.
Okay. So even the local or the unorganized players are back in full capacity, so they are not facing more of a manufacturing constraint as of now. Is this the right assessment?
I can't comment. What are they internally doing? I can't comment on that.
Okay. So my second question is with respect to our distributors. So our distributors' income will also be impacted because of the lockdown. So are we giving some extended credit or helping them in terms of by supporting them in terms of a few other benefits? So is that happening, or how exactly the things are there at the distributor end?
No, it's not necessary. Currently, what is happening in the market, because demand is there, supply is constraint is more. They are giving now less discounts to retailers, so they are able to make up their margin accordingly.
Okay. And so most of our factories are located in the northern region, and the south and the west market was the market where we were getting maximum growth. So so when you expect the supply chain to be normalized, and is it already normalized?
No, in south, markets are not opening. Supply chain has challenges, but not that we are not able to supply. It may take a day or two more. But problem is, these markets are not opening up. Once the demand starts coming, we keep on serving those markets also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Gupta from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Sir, just to kind of ask the same question again which other participants have asked. So you touched almost a 60% gross margin this quarter. And I can see that crude prices have turned even more benign versus where, let's say, I would assume that you would keep an inventory of 3-4 months. So, the inventories at which probably you will be procuring some of the polymers might have further fallen, and that inventories probably will come in your consumption in next 3 to 4 months. So should we expect that margins may improve? And you have been indicating that you have been taking some price hikes also. So on a broader basis, should this 60% gross margin that you reported can actually further improve? Is it a fair expectation in FY21?
That we have to watch market condition. What kind of demand is coming up in different categories, and what is the cost of the conversion. With the new way of SOP setting in the factory, a lot of precaution to be taken, social distancing to be maintained. So production capacity of every unit is getting affected. So that is on one way will be raising our cost.
Correct.
So we have to, on a little 3-4 months period, we'll really know where we stand as far as the cost is concerned. Accordingly, then we'll take appropriate steps.
Sure, sir. No, I mean, the question really is on the gross margin side. So I understand that will impact your operational cost and, your employee cost, etc. But purely from a raw material standpoint, I mean, let's see, even if I look at from 1Q FY20 to 4Q FY20, you have improved from 54% to 60%, which in a way tells me that raw material benefits come to you with a lag. But essentially, even from a 4Q level, the RM prices have declined, and RM prices clearly will not have any impact of, social distancing, etc. So that was my question. I mean, is it that you hedge your inventories to some extent and hence some of the benefits may not be there in the future quarter, or it's a usual 3-month lag with which inventories kind of get baked into your gross margins?
Ritesh, I think you are seeing only Q4. I think better to see full year performance. Say gross margin in full year it's around 57%. So don't expect a 60% margin will be there. Q4 you can see there is an increase in inventory. There is a less trading goods, so it has impacted. That's why it looks like there is a big jump in the margin. That is not the case. Let's see the full year, which is around 57%. That is sustainable. Again, subject to so many things, how manufacturing takes shape and how material prices support, and then we'll take the appropriate action. So just please don't think carried away with Q4 result. Let's see the full year result. That will be a right indicator of the performance.
Got it, sir. And just another thing, I think you also talked about distribution incentives, etc. So, and this is a general question. I mean, in a market where demand probably would be, let's say, seeing some bit of challenges, do you think you will have to? How should we think about the discounting at the trade level? Should the discounting at the trade level would increase to clear the inventories? Or you might have to give better margins to distributors to push your products. How does that happen? And in that context, how much is the pricing flexibility that you have as well? I mean, would you have to roll back some of the price hikes you have done in the past?
So if you see the market, we have three brands. One is Sparx, Flite, and then Bahamas. Okay, the open footwear, there is a lot of demand coming up because people in India, migrants labor, going back, the demand of open footwear, and because of lockdown, people are sitting at home. So demand of open footwear has gone up compared to the closed footwear, which from 3 to 6 months from now on, I think the demand can pick up for closed shoes. Yeah.
Got it, sir. And you told us that the ratio is 2/3 to 1/3.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devang Mehta from Bay Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Dua. Hello, Mr. Batra. Thank you. Just wanted to understand on the current strategy of streamlining distributors. We have culled out quite a lot of them from more than 900 to 700 now. So is the process over, or how do we see this number of distributors and the regions that we are adding?
So now currently we have 800 distributors. So last year we added more than 100 new distributors in new territories. This is an ongoing process, but because of COVID, for the last 3 months, nothing is happening. And we suspect next 1 month or 2 months will be remaining same. Post that, there again the drive of finding new distributor, new territory will be there.
Okay. And what will be the universe of retailers, MBOs, endpoints for footwear in India?
See, what data we have collected. Last year last meeting we discussed it was 75,000. We have updated the list to 85,000 outlets. And our presence is roughly around 45,000 outlets. So this I'm talking about direct reach. Indirect reach is much more.
Yeah, through wholesale, obviously.
Yeah.
So 45,000 is direct without wholesale. That is what I understand, right?
Correct.
Okay. And in terms of inventory in the system, you said there is 60 days of inventory in the channel. So and the demand is weak, and for especially the closed footwear, the demand is weak. So how do we see new footwear being? Are we going to? Obviously there will be some slack in terms of new design, but how do we see launching new products going forward?
I think we have to recalibrate our strategy and go for value for money product more, because premiumization in this scenario looks little difficult.
That would be across all the categories.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumant Kumar from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead. Sumant, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please. We would request the current participant to... Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So my question is regarding the volume degrowth in FY 22.7%. So is it because of only lockdown or some product mix changes? Low-end product we have sold lesser, and high-end product we have sold more. So we have seen a overall 8% realization growth also in FY 20. So can you elaborate what are the key reasons for that?
I think degrowth is fully at 2.7. Yes, that's right. It's a mixture of both. Due to lockdown, definitely we could not sell in last 10-15 days in the month of March. And the full year, if you see, we were selling more premium product and with lot of value addition. So value was growing much faster than the volume. That was, I think, basic factor. And then lockdown has impacted much. That's why this growth in volume is minus 2.7%.
Okay. So going forward, our focus is more to sell a value-added product. So whatever the low-end product like you have a Relaxo, Hawaii and Bahamas, that realization is lower. So going forward, we have a higher growth in that the other segment?
Really it depends upon the market. Currently, market demand for this value footwear is more. The slippers, Hawaii slipper, Bahamas, even flight. So we are serving them accordingly. Tomorrow, if the brand Sparx shoes also comes up, it is there, but volume is always more in these kind of articles.
Okay. And can you give us the volume mix across category? Volume and value mix?
No, sorry, we won't be able to. In comparative reasons, there are so many, 400 articles. What mix we find out of it?
Okay, so like Relaxo, Hawaii plus Bahamas, Flight and Sparx, 3 broader category.
High value, I think just we have been sharing, I think high value. So say there are 3 categories majorly. So one is the Relaxo including Bahamas, then second category is Flight and PU, third is the Sparx brand.
Right.
You can say it's a 1/4 Hawaii segment. I'm talking about the last year number. And
Right.
The rest is 50-50. You can say Sparx and Flight PU mix, Sparx and Hawaii. So 1/4 Hawaii, then rest is 50-50.
So you're talking about FY19 or FY20?
20. FY20.
Okay, and this is volume mix you're talking about?
Sorry?
Volume mix or value mix?
It's a value. I'm talking value one.
Okay. Any indicative number for volume?
Volume you can reverse. I think Hawaii will be around
40%.
40 plus 40, around 40%. And then Flight, rest is balanced.
Okay. Flight you said 40?
Hawaii, Relaxo is 40. Then Flight and Sparx is the balance number.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirav Chavai from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening. So my question is more regarding this open footwear and closed footwear category. So we are undisputed leader in this open footwear category. So just wanted to understand from a strategy point of view that for next 2 to 3 years, how much revenue do we target from this closed footwear category, particularly the Sparx brand?
In Sparx also we have various segments of footwear. There is sporty sandal, there are SFGs, there are slippers, and there are sports shoes. There are canvas sports shoes.
So from the sports shoe side particularly.
How much is our share? Gaurav can tell. Sports shoe.
In Sparx or overall?
Total overall scheme of things.
It's 5 to 10%. Between 5 to 10% is the sports shoe segment what we are catering.
Okay. And if we were to see the revenue or the realizations from that, would it be substantially higher, maybe 50-60% or even more than that, the average realization of our other products?
If you compare this with the basic Hawaii slipper, then definitely it is much higher. But on overall revenue point of view, it is 5 to 7%, between 5 to 10%.
And internally, do we foresee a larger opportunity here in next 2 to 5 years where the growth can be higher?
It's little doubtful because we are waiting for the winter season to come, and then we have to see how the closed footwear performs
this year. Because of COVID-19 challenge.
Yeah. Right. But I'm saying in particular, if we see for next 2 to 3 years, from a strategy point of view, is there a big shift where you see this as a larger opportunity since your penetration in this segment is
pre-COVID, you can say, because everybody was saying pre-COVID it was there, but post-COVID how it will be, we have to wait and watch.
Right. So also another thing is gross margins for our company for the last 3 quarters has been consistently growing. Even in this quarter, it was about 600 basis points up. So how much do you see is mainly on account of lower raw material prices, and how much can be on the back of premiumization?
You see, we see the overall cost, and accordingly we do the pricing so that we are able to sustain the margins.
Okay. Right. So you feel that from at least 1 or 2 quarters point of view, this premiumization thing would have a problem. So is it right to understand that your ASPs would go down in spite of lower prices, raw material prices?
ASP will definitely go down when cheaper slippers or the value slippers are selling. But gross margins and other things we will be able to sustain.
Okay. Right. So also just wanted to understand the competition intensity when we compare this to imported footwear. A lot of it also comes from China and India in this category. So how do you see things changing on that side? But those are not larger branded products, but in price, do we compete hard with them, or they are even more cheaper than our products?
No, we have no competition. That is nothing to worry on that front. It's imported. Otherwise, also government is day by day increasing that custom duty.
Yeah, they have been protecting the industry. That is happening.
Yeah.
So for us, being a branded player, there is no big challenge from imported footwear.
Oh no, not much.
Not much. And so the last question, if you can just help us out with online as a channel, how much does it contribute for our category of products, or from Relaxo point of view?
Around 10%.
Around 10% is on.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. That's it from us.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Pant from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So 2 questions. One, just picking up from the last question, this increase in import duty that we saw in the budget on footwear from 25 to 35 and on the accessories from 15 to 20. Has that, what have you seen, what changes have you seen in the industry? And has it benefited players like us who are more backward integrated? That is one. The second is in terms of the season. I understand that there are hardly any fresh designs, right? The summer season is almost over. So are we? How are you preparing for the winter/fall in terms of bringing new designs, or do you think this year we are not going to see any new introductions? And what does that mean in terms of spend behind the capex on molds, etc.? Thank you.
So, this year also we have to watch the market condition, the evolving need of the consumer. Definitely, maybe this year, less number of articles will be introduced because it is going to be a different other challenges which we have to overcome. Supply chain issues, understanding the demand. We already have good number of designs, but new number of designs also are likely to be introduced also this year also. Doesn't mean we will not introduce.
Okay. You think winter/fall you will have new designs that you will?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So does it reduce the capex intensity, sir, this year because half the year is almost gone, and you won't have had any new designs in the?
No. Our capex will continue because our one plant of building is coming up. Some expansions are taking place. Some machinery is required. So at least that 100 crores of expenditure is going to take place this year also.
Sure. Any corresponding increase in? I know it's tough in your setup. It's tough to give a number in terms of expansion from a volume point of view. But what does it mean from an expansion of production? In terms of just percentage increase, does it increase the production capacity with this 100 crores?
This new plant coming up in Bhiwadi, whose first civil construction is going on. So it will take another 1.5 years.
Sure, this is for the Bhiwadi plant. All of this 100 or?
Some of the machinery here and there, whatever we require, sometimes old machinery has to be changed, new molds have to be ordered, and somewhere because of some old machineries are required. So that is part and parcel, and we have been doing for last so many years. Every year some capex has to be there.
Bhiwadi will be a small part of this 100 crores, right? Maybe, I don't know if you can give a number.
No, Saurabh, I think out of 100 crores, say one construction is going on, so 50% will go to that civil construction and rest will go to mold and some changes in machinery and so many other things, routine expenses. So the capex this year majorly is on the building part.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bhatta.
After 1.5 years.
Okay.
100 crores of 50 a year.
Sure.
Anyway, 100 crores, 50% बोला.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I got it. Of this 100 crores, you're saying 50% will go to Bhiwadi, the rest will go in terms of maintenance
and mold and machinery.
Sure. And so just on the first question, if you can throw some light on the duties imposed by the government.
Duty on
have you seen any noticeable impact?
That is not going to play much effect to us because these are the sports shoes that people import on low price, under value, whatever they do. So that is not an issue. Our 90% business out is other articles.
Okay. I'm saying, does it give you is the competitive advantage meaningful for you that now it has been also imposed on accessories and also on the fully built shoes?
No, it doesn't matter. We have been always surviving among all kinds of competition. This duty up or down doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sabyasachi Mukherjee from Centrum PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Two questions from my side. First, on the volume growth, you mentioned that for full year there is a volume decline of 2.7%. I missed on the Q4 volume decline. If you can throw some light on that.
I think you can see there is a value degrowth of 15% in this quarter. So volume growth is also around 18 to 20% in this quarter because we have been selling premium product and all this one. So this time value growth is mainly due to premium and product mix.
But overall, it is 2%. Overall, for the year, we asked this question. It's only 2%. 2.7. That's all.
Yeah. Overall for the year, I understand. So for Q4, if I can, ask what would have been the growth, or other than what was the growth till March, 15, let's say March 15th, for 75 days of the quarter. Has there been any growth in for 75 days of the quarter?
You are talking about this year or March?
I'm talking about Q4 FY20. If I exclude the last 10-15 days where we saw the lockdown impacting the sales, what is the growth in the remaining period?
We were growing in a double-digit growth. So we delivered 12% plus growth till December. So we were growing in a good way. Double-digit growth was there till mid-March. And then I think everything impacted due to COVID.
Okay.
We would have grown double-digit this quarter also. Had there been no COVID.
That is double-digit, around 12% value growth you are saying. So volume growth would be around 7-8%?
Yes. Yes, you can say definitely. There is a gap of 6-7%. So at least 5-6% growth would have been there in volume.
Understood. Second part on the much more on the industry. We know that almost probably 60-65% of the industry is unorganized in nature, and given this pandemic situation, most of these players would be facing cash crunch, liquidity issues, do you see this pandemic, moving into something like that? The organized players will, come out much more stronger, and there will be a market share shift from unorganized to organized players in the coming future.
Let us hope for it. Government is trying to support SMEs like anything. So nothing to worry. We have a good position in the market, and we will keep on growing the way we have been growing in the past also. Competition activity will always remain, and competition activity should be there always. Then only the whole industry grows. So whether, even in the local, some people may survive, but some people may in local also are much stronger. Depends upon every management to management, how they handle, how they come out.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Shah from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is on realization trend. So if I look at your realization per pair this year, it is up by 8%. And historically, last 3-4 years data you shared in the presentation was almost flattish. So just wanted to understand first, how do you define premium portfolio? What is the realization in premium portfolio? What is the current contribution? And this 8% increase is increasing premiumization, or existing products have also seen price increases?
20% of our business comes from premium articles. And we keep on developing this article after understanding the evolving need of the consumer. So whatever consumer is needing, what needs, how they are coming up. Accordingly, we launch our premium articles.
How do you define the premium article?
It is very subjective. For one person, the article of 200 rupees may be premium. And somebody may say, no, 2,000 rupees is premium. So in Hawaii slippers, in our category, we say 200 rupees is a premium. Because
so anything about 200. So is it fair to understand anything about 200 rupees per pair would be premium for us?
Again, it's a category to category. In sports shoe, 200 is nothing. In sports shoe, 1,000 may be a basic category. But there, if the articles are 2,000, we may call it premium. So we have in our own creative segments within our own way of understanding the things. And accordingly, 20% of such articles we have categorized as our premium articles. Hello. Akhil, you are there?
So the line for the current participant dropped. The next question is from the line of Rakshit Rajan from Marcellus Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir. So, in your opening remarks, you mentioned you've taken certain initiatives to come out stronger from this crisis. Can you elaborate a bit more on what are these initiatives, whether they are in manufacturing, in product development, in distribution, and any specifics you can share?
Currently, as even in the past, we always keep it interaction with our consumers, our distributors, our retailers. So, by understanding the evolving need of the consumer, our product development is taking place, and these articles are more successful in the market. That gives us a good edge in the market. And after post-lockdown, what we have seen, at the moment, value footwears are much in demand. And we are organizing within ourselves, trying to organize the things, improve the things. So maybe by next quarter, when things will normalize, then our sports shoe and other segment will also come up. So we are better prepared than competition, I should say, to make use of the opportunity if it comes up after a stabilization of maybe second or third quarter.
And the biggest difference that you expect to see in your business vis-a-vis competition is around manufacturing, or is it, because of different degrees of return to normalcy on the labor front, or is it more around the front end distribution? You can elaborate that as well.
First of all, it is a market have to be normalized. When the demand starts coming, then only you are able to cater to. And once that is there, since we have very good capacities, modern plants, so we are in a better position to serve them also. And we have our warehouses spread throughout the country. So servicing is also for us, easier. So we can give better services to the people. We have a good sales force on the field. So all these things put us in a good advantageous position to serve the market.
Okay, thanks for that. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tejas Shah from Spark Capital. Please go ahead. Tejas, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, sir. So a couple of follow-ups. Sir, the center point of our long-term strategy for last many years has been identifying new geographies and leveraging our cost leadership and branding capabilities to gain market share. Now, the two geographies which we have been calling out for last 2 years is South and West. So when you index your brand strength, and I know you have mentioned in past it's difficult to comment on market share, but whatever competitors data you track in this market, what will be our rough market share gain in last 3-4 years if you have to give some ballpark figure?
No, it will be only guesstimate we can give you, because information of competition is not at all available. There is no source, authentic source, neither there is any neutral agency who can track these things. So from our own angle, the way we calculate, it is a guesstimate, but we have a market share of 4 to 5%.
Still in South and West India, we are single-digit market share.
No, I am talking total.
Total. But sir, your North India market share will be way higher than your new markets. So that's why I was asking.
So new market has better growth rate. If we see, compared to the overall growth, we are growing doubly in the West and South market.
Sure. And Gaurav, would it be a fair assumption that your premiumization, your premium portfolio share also will be higher in South and West market?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And last answer, there were some rough comments you made last year that East India is also looking very lucrative. So any plans of entering East India in a big way this year or in near future?
East India, yes, there is some West Bengal we are focusing, and we are seeing a very good growth rate there.
Okay.
So we'll continue this process, yes.
Okay. That's all from my side, and sir, all the best. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Shah from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So, actually, my call got disconnected, so just wanted to check that existing products also saw price increase, or it was just premiumizing which led to this overall improvement in realization?
Can you repeat, please?
I just wanted to understand this 8% increase in realization per pair was due to just increasing share of premium portfolio, or our existing portfolio also saw some bit of price increase which led to this overall improvement?
It was a mix of both. There was also some price revisions and also premium article also getting a more share in our scheme of things. Both.
Okay. Can you share what kind of price increase you would have taken in existing portfolio?
It's very difficult. We have 400 articles. We have to be very selective where we can increase, how much we can increase. So it will be very complex and nobody can make any sense out of it. It depends upon what consumer is looking for. Okay.
Got it, sir. Got it. Just lastly on what would be our overall utilization levels currently? Plant utilization levels?
Around 70%.
We are back to 70%. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of VT Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, could you share the ASP for the quarter and for the year? Average selling price?
Yes, this year it will be around 135. I think it will be around 135 ASP at company level.
For fiscal year 20, it was 135 rupees per pair, right?
Yes.
And for the quarter, was it any different or pretty much in line with this number?
Quarter, yeah, it will be same. I think full year average and quarter will be same by and large.
Okay. My second question was, in the last 2 months after the quarter end, are you seeing different demand trends in rural versus urban?
Rural is picking up like anything because most part of India, rural was not locked down. So there was a constant demand coming from rural. But the urban India, there is a lot of problem coming up. For example, retailer is hardly opening a shop. Even after government regulation, they are not opening the shop. If they are opening, they're opening with their own timings. So rural India is more promising than the urban India. That's what we can see in next 1 month time here.
Okay, that's very helpful. My last question is, you were earlier talking about PU, being imported, and there is a player which is put up or in the process of putting up the PU capacity. Do you think that's a good for your industry in the sense that hopefully the costs will come down, or if you can give some color on that particular event?
PU is whether PU or EVA, both are imported materials. So material is not an issue. And around demand. Now we have to make what there is demand. If the more demand is of PU slippers, we will make PU slippers more. If the demand now, for example, currently, these low-cost Hawaii slippers, Mahamas and Flight EVA, they are being demanded more, so we are producing those more.
But I think you want to know about the prices of raw material, na? What's your exact question?
Yeah, let me repeat my question. My question is that now that a player is setting up the capacity in India itself, are you likely to buy from them, or do you think the landed price of importing PU is still going to be cheaper?
No, we have to see whether it is domestic. Domestic also, they import the material, they do the mixing only. That they are also doing it. So we have to see wherever we get some price advantage, we buy from them.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you. And now in the conference, over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you all for joining the call. This is all from our side. Looking forward to join you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. On behalf of Elara Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.